Hey, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. Either way, I'm so glad to see you here. I'm Nick, and I make videos about things I'm interested in. Today, we're going to be taking a look at what exactly it is that makes a cozy game cozy. So, let's get into it. Now, as I've said before, cozy is an extremely subjective term. There is no single ubiquitous cozy. However, there absolutely are certain staples of the cozy genre when it comes to games, and while I'm not really one for labels, it can be helpful when trying to tailor, say, a YouTube video to a particular audience. That being said, I want you to keep in the back of your head that the number one most important thing about a cozy game that makes it cozy is whether or not it's cozy to you. That's all that matters, really. Everything else is just markers that we can use to market a game. There are a lot of games out there that certainly did not intend to be considered cozy, but some would absolutely consider so. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about the things that I look at when evaluating whether or not a game would be considered cozy to all of you. I know, it's so overdone at this point it's a meme. Hell, I've made entire videos showing off some of the great cozy games that aren't farming. But whether we like it or not, it's a very popular mechanic for cozy games to use. But why? What is it about farming that makes people gravitate to it when making a game that's supposed to feel cozy? Well, I think we can pinpoint a few things. For one, we have the ever-present nostalgia. Now, this isn't something I think really needs a segment all to itself in this video, but it is an important factor to keep in mind because it does kind of permeate everything we're going to be talking about. Many extremely popular cozy games, like for instance Stardew Valley, lean on nostalgia for their cozy vibes. And that nostalgia doesn't just come from the fact that the game is a spiritual successor to the Harvest Moon games, though that certainly is a really verdant source of nostalgic vibes for a lot of people, but it doesn't just pull from this nostalgia for games that we used to play back in the day. It also hits on a nostalgia for a more rural lifestyle, which seems so far away in our current day and age. Now, obviously that nostalgic view of the past is as inaccurate as it was back in the 1800s during the Romantic period. However, it's very much still a draw for many people, even those who are well aware of its inaccuracies. And this is where we tie back to the actual main point of this segment, farming. Not only does farming hold a particularly nostalgic place in a lot of people's minds culturally, it also implies self-sufficiency and a distancing from the economic systems that drive society today, which many people are becoming more and more disenchanted with. It's actually kind of funny just how well cozy games mirror the Romantic period in its depiction of a rural life, except now instead of oil on canvas, it's pixels on a screen. But aside from the deeply held associations we have with farming, there is also the mechanical coziness to farming. There's a natural progression to building up a farm which is satisfying in and of itself. It feels great to see your farm grow from a few little plots to a full-on farm. And it's a progression which is tied to your own actions. It's not like getting a raise at work where, sure, the money goes up, but realistically you don't have control over how much, when, why, or anything like that. In contrast, running your own little farm, you decide all the plants that are grown. You decide when to harvest, what to sell, and for how much. I think it's that sense of control that a lot of people find so attractive and cozy about farming as a mechanic. Plus, it offers a lot of opportunity for expansion and optimization, which sure can be frustrating at the beginning, but many people find it incredibly cozy and incredibly rewarding to have put in a bunch of time and effort to figure out how best to lay out their farm for the best efficiency and then just sit back and watch it cook. And then there's the community aspect. Many cozy games have a huge focus on community and the importance of the connections you make with the people around you. And while real-life small towns have a reputation for not being the most welcoming to all types of people, it's a game so we can just ignore the less savory aspects in favor of the much more cozy feeling of being accepted by the people around you and being able to rely on them when you need help. So while cozy games don't have to include farming, there is a reason that so many do. It's a mechanic which brings with it its own set of preconceived notions and, for lack of a better term, vibes. And while I have made a few videos focusing on games that aren't farming, because I know a lot of people are burnt out on it as a mechanic, I don't think it's by any means a bad mechanic. I love it, and I personally can't get enough of farming games. But let's not just focus on farming, because there are many other reasons people find certain games cozy. Like, for instance, something today's sponsor, BenQ, can help you with: convenience. Something I personally find very cozy in gaming is the ability to pick up your game where you left off, no matter where you are. Whether that's at your PC setup in your office, on your couch after a long day at work, or on the go. The option to play where you like, how you like, can be a big contributor to a game feeling cozy, and that's one of the main benefits of something like the Steam Deck. But the Steam Deck can't do it alone, so you'll need a great dock to go with that great handheld, like, for instance, the Creatus GR10 Steam Deck dock. There's nothing more frustrating than sitting down to grind away at your Stardew farm in glorious 4K 120 just to realize you're stuck at a measly 1080-60. But with the help of the GR10, you can game at whatever resolution your heart desires. With the power of HDMI 2.1, you can game at 1080 360, 4K 120, or even 8K 60, and anything in between. So as long as your handheld has the power to back it up, the sky's the limit. And with the GR10, you can be sure that the bottleneck isn't your dock. But you don't always want to game at home. Sometimes you want to take your dock on the go, but traditional gaming docks oftentimes don't pack down to a size that's convenient for on-the-go travel. However, for you, those days are in the past. With its folding compact design, the GR10 can confidently take your gaming on the go wherever the winds might take you. Where most gaming docks are designed to stay at home and be a permanent part of your setup, the GR10 offers flexibility and convenience, allowing you to turn your gaming dock mobile. With up to a whopping 100 watts of power delivery over USB-C, you only need to take one cable with you to charge all your devices while you're out and about. And with USB 4, you can transfer game files at up to 10 gigs a second. Plus, you get a blisteringly fast 2.5 gig Ethernet port, so you can ensure a stable connection wherever you are. So if you want all that and more, go check out the GR10 today at the link in the description. But now, back to the video. Okay, that wasn't just a clever segue to our sponsored segment. The ability to play wherever you are is actually a really important thing for a lot of cozy games. There's a reason most cozy games are available on the Switch, and previous to the Steam Deck's release, that was basically the best way to play them. And, as I said, nostalgia is kind of a through line with a lot of this. For many people, the experience of playing a game on the go, whether that's in the car, on the metro, or some other mode of transportation, is kind of a callback to childhood and the days of game consoles like the DS or even the original DMG Game Boy. But even nostalgia aside, there's something unique about being able to whip out your game on the go and turn wherever you are into kind of a temporary little mini living room setup. And it can give traditionally lifeless and somewhat drab liminal spaces a bit more of a personality and a life of their own. It's similar, I think, to bringing a book with you on the go. Sure, it doesn't change the train car you're in into a cozy little cafe, but the transportational nature of immersive media can take your mind somewhere else and change the feeling of a space fairly significantly, even if just for a relatively short period of time. But that's a bit more hardware related. What is it about a game that makes it good for play on the go? Well, I think this is where a lot of the tropes of cozy games come in. If you're going to be playing out and about, you probably don't want your game to be super intense and require all your attention. So games which have some level of difficulty, but not so much you can't hear your next stop being called out, are going to fare much better than something like a Souls game, where you can't put down the game until you've survived to the next bonfire. So that means we should also be looking at games which let you pause, or at least save at any point so you can put the game down when you need to and not risk anything in the game itself. So things like puzzle games or some more introductory Metroidvanias come to mind. Regardless of the specific game though, I think the ability to play on the go does a lot to make a game feel cozy. Like, can you imagine if you had specific ways that you had to save your progress in Animal Crossing, like bonfires, how stressful that would be? You wouldn't want to even start it on the go unless you knew you had like an hour to sit down and play. But the fact that you can just shut off the console wherever and pick up where you left off means that it's much more comfortable to take with you and play in short stints, perhaps with friends, which in turn leads us to our last point. like everything on this list, this isn't something that has to be present, but when it is, it can make a game feel just a bit more cozy. Community is one of those things that I think isn't appreciated quite enough when it comes to games as a whole. And looking at games that aren't really considered cozy for a second, think of how much less successful a game like Helldivers would have been if it didn't have a community around it. The community made that game what it is and continues to prop it up today. And I'm going to give a bit of a hot take here, but I think the same is true for Star Citizen. The game that is constantly maligned for insane DLC prices, perpetual development, and incredibly buggy gameplay. And while all those things are absolutely true, and I would never say that you're wrong for not wanting to play it for those reasons, that's not really the point for the people who do play the game. Most of the people who are really into that game love it for the community and the ways that they can engage actively with the development of the game. And that is something I think can absolutely make a game feel cozy. The feeling that you're not just playing this thing in your bedroom, chilling out and having a good time, but that you're taking part in a bit of a cultural event. You're experiencing something that is fleeting and tied to all the other gamers around the world who are playing and discovering things about the game at the same time and talking to each other about it. Stardew isn't what it is because it looks real nice or plays real good. No, it's the phenomenon it is in part due to the skill and constant care that the developer gives to it, but mostly because of the community that's cropped up around it to support it, not only by their individual purchases, but by giving other newcomers a reason to be interested in buying it at all. And it's these games that build communities that really tend to explode among the cozy side of the internet, because if there's one thing cozy gamers like to do, it's to talk about the cozy game that they're playing right now. And that's something I love so much about this community and all of you. It's one of the things that keeps me coming back to make videos. The fact that you're all so interested in talking about the cozy games that you love and finding new ones to try out. And something I love about these cozy games is that they don't have to be massive successes that get coverage from huge news outlets like what happened with Helldivers or Animal Crossing. Lots of much smaller games have really vibrant communities around them which don't get wider attention, but in my opinion are doing some really cool stuff like web fishing or Kind Words 2. Those are small games no Kotaku or Game Rant would ever talk about, but they have vibrant, largely wholesome communities which make the games what they are. Ultimately, this is just a few things that came to mind for me, and like I said at the beginning of this video, it's really up to you what makes a game cozy for you. I can't tell you with absolute certainty that Stardew or Tiny Glade are going to be cozy to you, but I do think it helps to think about these things for ourselves and figure out what it is about these little pieces of art that makes us love them so much. So let me know down in the comments what it is you find most cozy about a game. I know there are lots of things that I didn't even touch on which matter a whole heck of a lot to many of you, like art style or music or story direction, so let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Or if you want to have a bit more interaction, go check out our Cozy Design Studios Discord, where you can find all kinds of like-minded people just waiting to talk about video games with you. Also, a huge thank you to BenQ for being the first sponsor we have ever had on the channel. Make sure you go check out the GR10 at the link in the description. It would really help me out with getting some more sponsors for the channel, which just help us do even more cool things. And if you want to support the channel in the meantime, you're welcome to join at the link in the description as well. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here next week. And as always, happy gaming.